Hey there, this is your host Brian, and I'd like to introduce you to our special guest today, Clarke Bishop of Tech Marketing Team. Clarke has been the owner and leader of several technology service companies, and he knows just how painful it can be to put in all the time and effort to educate yourself, to work hard, yet still fail to realize your business dreams. If you're the owner or leader of a technology service company, then it's highly likely that Clarke's been exactly where you are right now. He knows how to answer all of these problems, and those answers will lead to marketing that really works, attracts new customers, increases profitability, and helps you focus on the most effective growth strategies that will help you get the most out of your business. So in today's interview, our topic is going to be surefire ways to get more calls from IT service prospects. Clarke, welcome and thank you so much for being here with us today.
Certainly, Brian. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, I've been looking forward to this all month, actually. So, for those who are not familiar with you, I know I gave them a general consensus and overview. How about you tell us just a little bit about yourself? And I know that I talked to you recently, and you said business has been going great for you. So, how about a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, it really has been going great. You know, almost every company has challenges when it comes to marketing. And so that's our specialty. And in fact, our specialty is really marketing for IT service companies and MSPs and cloud service companies and really all kinds of technology service company, VARs, point of sale guys, all those types of companies. And the reason reason we started doing this is that in the 1990s, I was CEO of a technology company. We were a
Hmm.
software development company, and we really should have had wonderful things happen for us, and that would have been great, except we had one big thing that was missing. We didn't really have our marketing act together because I didn't know how to do marketing. And so I personally felt the pain that comes from having everything lined up, really having a great product, having a great team, having a great idea at the right time in the right place, just in time for the dot-com boom, and missing it all because we didn't do a good job of getting the word out and generating leads. So we had some great customers, did some great things, but we didn't scale as well as we should have. And so, having had that experience, I hate seeing business owners suffer through knowing that they are well positioned, knowing that they've got great products, great people, great services, and not having enough people to serve and to help. It's bad for the world when that happens. So my company, Tech Marketing Team, was created to solve that problem. And we've got lots and lots of package strategies that we know work because we use them for companies across the country. And that's what we do today. And that's what's keeping us busy.
And for those who don't know about the dot-com boom as much, and especially the early times of internet marketing, uh, I know that I've heard lots about it from people who've made resounding successes. So you were in, like, I guess I could say the most lucrative or potentially lucrative time. And when people were able to open AdSense accounts and make hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, basically not even trying, and that's just a basic marketing method. Now things have got much more difficult, and you have to be very strategic about how you market. But I think there might be some people out there who think, oh, okay, well, marketing's not that big of a deal. But for you to be in the most, where people are practically throwing money away at everybody for whatever reason, and for you to miss out on that, I know that must have been disappointing for you, but it really goes to show how important marketing really is in the overarching plan of your business.
Absolutely. You know, if you really look, everybody knows about the big successes like Google or take your favorite company that came out of that period. eBay was another big success. The
Hmm.
truth is there were a lot more failures than there were successes. So it's not like we were the only ones, but we had everything right except for one key thing, and that's what's painful. Knowing it's like here we are coming up on football season. It's like getting to the 1 yard line and missing going to the national championship because or the Super Bowl because you didn't call the right play on the 1 yard line.
Oh gosh, that would be distressing. Definitely. So, I'd like to talk about things that can really benefit our listeners here and what they can take to their business today if they wanted to. So, is there a surefire way that these technology service companies can get more calls from prospects?
Absolutely. You want to know what it is?
I bet they can guess.
Well,
Let's just move on.
that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
the answer is yes. There you have it. All right. How about you tell us just a little bit about that then?
Okay, you ready? Wait for it. The
Okay.
answer is if you want to get more phone calls from prospects, here's the secret. Ask for them.
No way.
Yeah, really. It's amazing how many people put things like the phone number on the website and they think, "Oh, well, the phone number's on my website, so people will call it." Well, here's the thing that a lot of people miss, and it's so simple. It's really incredibly simple, but it's a very common mistake, and it makes a difference. It can make a big difference. There's a big difference between saying call now and your phone number and just having your phone number.
So that really just right there in itself, that call to action really does make all the difference, even just on a web page.
Exactly. And that is the marketing term for this is a call to action. And the relevant word there is action, using action-oriented words, telling people exactly what you want them to do. We get so close to our businesses, we take so many things for granted, and we think people know what MSP means. And we all know what it means, but sometimes our customers don't really understand that. But we use all these acronyms and technical terms, and we end up with a confusing. We'll use the website as example here, but we use we end up with a confusing website that doesn't really have clear places for people to go or clear things for people to do if they want to do business with you. So just adding words like call now, making it clear. One of the first principles, most important principles of designing any type of marketing is don't make the prospect think. Don't make them have to think. Don't make them have to figure it out. Anytime you make people have to think and have to figure things out, it's going to dramatically reduce the number of people, the percentage of people that are going to do what you want them to do. So spell it out. The my rule for this is and it's not. I don't mean this as in disrespecting our prospects. It's just that everybody's attention is so fractured and scattered these days.
Hmm.
So we're continuously we're talking on the cell phone and texting somebody at the same time and surfing on our iPad and trying to drive and doing all that stuff at once. I'm not advising that, but I know people do it. And, there's just so many different things going on, and we're just inundated with information and opportunities and ideas. So making it really clear. And so my rule for this is imagine that all your prospects are 5-year-olds. So if you think back to kindergarten, when it was time to go out to the playground, what happened? Everybody lines up, you count off heads, you hold hands, you go outside, you play for the play period. Everybody lines up, you hold hands, you come back inside. Same thing for going to lunch, whatever.
Hmm.
So, it's that kind of structure. Be very specific, step by step structured will improve any type of conversion and any action that you want your prospects to be doing. We've been talking about web pages, but this applies to print and a lot of other things as well.
Yeah, it seems like it just applies to marketing in general. A lot of times people are looking for something, for the answer to something, because they don't want to think. They don't want to have to process things or work things out. And I could be wrong in quoting this, but I think it was Henry Ford who said that the most difficult thing in the world, or for a man to do, is thinking, and he will go to great lengths to avoid doing it.
That's right.
And I find it's very true. Most people try and slip into a routine, and I think even it turns out that even when your brain is dormant, just doing processes that it's routinely used to, it still is the primary consumer of 20% of your body's of your calories. And you'll see people who are playing chess, like chess masters, professional players, they will be sweating profusely because they're thinking so hard. So really, a lot of people might think, oh, well, thinking whatever, it's not that big of a deal. But the fact of the matter is, it's the biggest deal, and people just do everything they can to avoid doing it because they want somebody else to do it for them. And for you to instruct them like that and make them not have to wonder, should I do this or should I not do this? You take control. You put the ball in your court, and even if people won't admit it, that's almost what everybody wants. They just want you to do it for them and make things as simple as possible.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And so, it's not that it's absolutely true that thinking is work. And in the world we all live in, when we're filled with distractions, we're kind of putting a 5-year-old's worth of attention on each topic or each thing we're doing sometimes. That might not be the wisest way to do things, but it happens pretty frequently. And so it's when you make it easy, then it works best for everybody.
hmm And so that brings me to my next question is, can you give us some examples of where you might use a call to action?
Certainly. So here's one that you might be surprised to know this, but a lot of IT service companies and MSPs are actually still having good luck with Yellow Page ads. I just was talking about iPhones and iPads and everything online and websites and so on. A lot of people don't realize it, but some of these old marketing technologies and old forms of advertising are working better than ever because everybody's paying attention to the new technologies. So,
Oh, I get it now.
yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah,
so just like when everyone says, "Oh, pay attention to this, everyone market this," then it clears up so much room for the old marketing technology. It becomes cheaper, more cost effective, and I guess you could say it opens your market because there's less competition in that avenue.
exactly.
Wow.
It depends on where you are and where your prospects are. If you're in some highly technical area, say Silicon Valley
hmm
or Boston or someplace like that, then maybe you can reasonably say, well, nobody's going to use the Yellow Pages, but especially in middle parts of America, or if you've got older prospects, there are people that still use the Yellow Pages and look forward to going to the Yellow Pages to find things. So, and if you go take a look, if you do still have Yellow Pages around, you go take a look and open it up, and you'll see a lot of people that'll have their phone number listed, but it doesn't say call now. And I don't mean to overdo the two words call now, but nevertheless, saying call now, we're available 24/7. You can't have an answering service that still picks up the phone, or some way to process that call, or call now business hours if you don't want to do the answering service. But let people know what to expect, tell them what to do, let them know what to expect, and they're more likely to do it.
Absolutely, and it brings me to an interview I had with another client who helps out private investigators, and he was talking about how people, when they market words, some people don't use the layman terms; they use technical terms. So in the private investigation niche, you have a lot of people go find private investigators to check up on their spouse to make sure they're being fidelitous. But when you put that into marketing, like, is your spouse being fidelitous? But as opposed to the words, is your spouse cheating? It triples that little change. That single word triples the amount of calls, of contacts, of people that come in. And so though that combined with an actual call to action, call now, here's the number, I imagine that would be tremendously beneficial for IT service marketing businesses.
You bet. I've got examples of ads where adding a comma, that's the only change, adding a comma can triple the response rate.
Wow.
So, it's the little things do matter. The little things do matter. You want some more examples of places where you might use this idea?
Let's hear it.
Well, we already talked about websites, so certainly a
hmm
website call to action. It's something that a lot of people are missing on their website. When you go to somebody's homepage, you need to have some clear notion of what are you supposed to do next. So, have a call to action on your homepage that tells people what to do. Don't expect them to navigate around and drill down and find whatever. Give them a clear call to action, and you're more likely to get those responses. Here's one that a lot of people don't use: email signature. In your email signature, we've all got these email signatures, but do you have a call to action? Do you say, instead of just the phone number, do you say call now? Do you have a special offer or download our white paper on 2013 tips for configuring Microsoft Office or whatever? Another one is direct mail letters. Just like the Yellow Pages, a lot of people have forgotten about direct mail. And if you're like me, Brian, you'll notice that you get a lot less mail than you used to.
Yes.
And so doesn't that mean you're a lot more likely to look at the mail you get?
Yes.
And so isn't there a big opportunity there for companies to connect with their prospects through direct mail?
Yes, definitely.
Even better if you, this is a topic for another day, but using dimensional mail, mail that has that's a little bit larger in a box or a package or something like that, that can get a lot of attention. And so there's all kinds of things like that you can do to connect with your prospects. And here's a tip that goes along with that. You can combine these things together. So send an email and a direct mail piece at the same time will typically double or more than double your response rates from it.
So you maximize your results from your calls to action, and it's a very simple gesture.
Exactly. So when you do direct mail, I mean, we always make sure we've got very clear calls to action. We tell people what to do next. And so it's more like you're much more likely to get a response from that. So you can use this idea in any kind of marketing materials, printed things that you do, whether it's a brochure or just some kind of insert for a special event or whatever. And here's one that a lot of people miss the chance to do, using some walk-by signage. If you send your technicians or your people, your consultants into customer offices, why not have some type of a walk-by sign that you can hang on the door or put outside the office that lets people know you're in there improving their technology infrastructure? A sign that says, caution, servers being upgraded. And then it's got a call to action on it with a phone number, or better yet, a place to put some business cards. Those are the kinds of things that we typically implement and help our clients implement.
And these are things that I've actually never heard of businesses doing. So this is a new model of marketing, even for me. And I've been around the block when it comes to especially internet marketing. But what you're saying, I think that's great stuff, especially for clients that you're going to help, because they have brick and mortar businesses, and just these tactics I just don't hear at all. And so I think really they're going to get a lot of use out of this.
Yeah, the walk by thing has a big impact, because if you're working in Office B and you walk past Office A on your way to Office B every day, you probably at least kind of know the people in Office A. And if you see the people in Office A are getting their servers upgraded, you're immediately curious. And you immediately get a little credibility burst, because if you're good enough, if your IT company, your MSP is good enough for the guy in Suite A, then the people in Suite B are probably more interested in you, and they're more likely to grab one of those cards and call you.
Kind of like seeing your neighbor with a nicer car than you.
Exactly.
A little bit. So, what can you check to ensure that you have a good call to action then?
Well, there's a few very specific things. The first thing is it clear? Mm-hmm. And one of the things, like I was looking at some web copy here just a few minutes before we started this interview, and somebody had a line of copy that says, technology services to do this and that for such and so. But immediately started with technology services. Well,
You almost made me yawn,
I
Clark.
know, as much as I love technology, and everybody listening to us loves technology, and as much as we care about our technology services, lose those words. Just start with the benefits. Productivity for veterinarians, or efficient billing for veterinarians, or whatever it is that that your niche is all about. But just focus on the benefit. Make it clear, make it tight. And because otherwise people won't get it. It's more of the 5-year-old thing. Another thing people get wrong is they try to combine too many things at once. They'll have
Hmm.
too many calls to action on their homepage, or they'll send out of a direct mail piece that says, call this number, or if you don't want to call this number, text this, or if you don't want to do that, email this, or if you don't want to do that, go to www dot, and by that time, your 5-year-olds have completely gone all over the map and you've lost
Oh
them.
yeah.
Another thing to check for is to use active urgent language. So
Hmm.
call now, buy, register, subscribe, download, get, whatever. But make it very direct, and have that sort of action orientation in there. And
So it sounds like power words, really.
well, yeah, it's power words, but the point is that they're action oriented. The words are do something,
Hmm.
not not just. Um, I think it's better to say download free report than just free report,
Oh
because the
yes.
word download says you need to do something. So they're do oriented words. Do something, get something, have something happen are good things to use. And the last thing we always check for is, do we really have a compelling offer? And compelling offers are another big topic in and of themselves, but it comes down to, is this something that a prospect would really intrigue a prospect? And sometimes that really just comes down to the title you put on it.
Hmm.
Um, the but it's thinking through. Here's an example of a non-compelling offer.
All right.
Have a salesperson call me. That's not real compelling for most people, because and people try to use contact us forms. Contact us forms typically don't convert nearly as well as something that says, download our free guide to Cloud Trends, or Cloud Trends 2013 Buyer's Guide, or
Hmm.
you get the idea. So being in the mindset of those prospects is really valuable. So one thing I'll mention about all that, and I know you're going to talk about the 30-minute marketing tune-up calls, but if you want us to review one of your calls to action, or a situation where you've got specific questions, you can sign up for one of uh, our tune-ups, and we'll review that with you. And in fact, as long as I'm off on this, we've got a pretty good example of a web page that converts pretty well at techmarketingtuneup.com. And if you take a look at that, there's several other things you'll see that are best practices. One of them that drives me crazy is never ever use a submit button that says submit on it. Buttons, labels.
That sounds not good. Now that I think about it, I'm like, wow,
Brian,
that sounds not
I
good at
want you
all.
to submit to me. It's Submit buttons almost always convert at a lower rate than almost anything else. Um, and I've never tried to actually create a button that converts worse. Maybe you could come up with something, but
I'd rather not make less money. Thank you,
exactly,
Clark.
exactly. So the submit button out there, it is a submit button in technical terms. It does submit the form, but what it says is get your free tune-up. So it's action oriented. That button's got a nice contrasting color. That's my second biggest pet peeve is these ugly gray browser default buttons. Don't use those. Make the button obvious. Make it stand out. Make it clear. Don't ask for too much info. They provide some assurances about privacy or credibility. There's a line on that form I pointed you to that specifically links to our privacy policy, so you don't have to miss that. And the one thing that we could have done on that page and probably should do at some point and haven't is add some customer testimonials. That testimonials near the conversion button helps your conversion rates.
Hmm. That's excellent stuff. And I'm gonna do this real quick because we are getting to the end of our interview here, and I still have another question to go. But you talked about website clutter and there being too much to take in at once. And I remember I was looking at this beautiful electric grand piano, and I was really interested in learning more about it. But I went to the website that was selling it, and then all over, like it's promoting pretty much every other section of the website, like church organs and normal pianos and digital keyboards that you might use with synthesizers, and it's just cluttered all the way down because they're trying to promote far too much and they're feeding me too much information, and eventually I just stopped and I just clicked away.
You got to choose. You got to know who
Exactly.
you're after, and you got to choose.
And there we go. And that leads me to what are some of the pitfalls, the drawbacks? Why don't more companies do these call to actions effectively?
Well, we've talked about a lot of these different things, but I'll give you a couple of summary things. The taking too many things for granted. You
Hmm.
know, I gave you the phone number. Don't you know you should call it? Well, make it specific. Do the 5-year-old thinking thing. Sometimes people worry that this sounds too pushy. Call now sounds somehow pushy or salesy, and maybe it is, but I'm telling you it works better. The another one is not really thinking through all the details and really having a clear vision of how a user is going to navigate through and go through this. What's their experience going to be if they open up your direct mail piece and they open up the letter and they read it and they see are they going to get it? Same thing on the web. On the web, it's worse because it's so easy to make changes and create navigation that gets people lost. And the last thing I'll leave you with is we talked about that compelling offer. Make sure you're adding value with the call to action. So even better than call now is call now for a free network assessment or call for a free um, um, IT opportunities review or however you call it. Because then you can actually add value in that call, and that's what we try to do in our tune-up calls.
And everyone loves free. I remember that there was a study done, and there were those. Yeah, have you seen those, like those square Ghirardelli chocolates at the
Yes.
stores? Yes, there were. Well, there were some at a cafeteria, and they had the Ghirardelli chocolates, and they had Hershey's Kisses, and the Hershey's Kisses cost one penny, and the Ghirardelli's cost, or no, the Hershey's Kiss cost 3 pennies, and the Ghirardelli's cost 28 cents. And so they sold fairly evenly, and then they dropped them down so that the Hershey's Kiss cost 1 penny and the Ghirardelli chocolate cost 26 cents, and they still sold about evenly. And they dropped it down 1 penny, so the Ghirardelli was 25 cents and the Hershey's Kiss was free. And when you give away something for free, it tripled. It actually more than tripled. It went up to, like, I don't know, 350% or something. Even though people who normally wouldn't get it, now that it's free, they're like, oh, well, even though I don't have to invest a single penny, if they have to invest a single penny, it's all of a sudden they don't want to do it. But when it's free for them, you're providing a tremendous value. And everyone just loves to have something for free, and that's exactly how you bring them into your business, through your call to action.
Yeah, if you didn't remember, that comes from a book called Predictably Irrational. And I'd actually just yesterday had a call with a client who talked about how much they appreciated having me having recommended that they read that book. And there's some other really great things in there. But that's exactly what we do is we overreact to free. And so, we're more likely to invest time in free or to make ourselves available for free. But it still has to be compelling. It still has to be something that seems worth doing to the prospect.
No, people will do different, just crazy things for free. I've seen people stand in line an hour for a free hot dog. I'm like, how much is your time worth?
Mhm.
It doesn't matter. That's why it's called, like you said, predictably irrational.
Yep. I don't know that the same rules would work if it was between a piece of lettuce and a premium piece of lettuce, but chocolate is different. It's compelling.
It sure is. I don't stand in line. Oh man, I can't wait to get that piece of lettuce. So, Clark, it's been really great. And for all of you out there listening, if this, or I'm sorry, I actually had thoughts of like, oh, there's so much more I wanted to talk about. I got ahead of myself. But if you're out there listening to this interview and you'd like to learn more about how to identify and fix the marketing mistakes in your technology business, Clark has generously offered a free 30-minute marketing tune-up call, especially for listeners of this interview. You probably heard him talk about it a little bit earlier. So anybody out there who needs to work on their call to actions, this is exactly what you need, because Clark's going to help you identify what might be the biggest holes in your marketing strategy, as well as the biggest opportunities for additional profit in your business. So spots are very limited and will be made available on a first come, first served basis. So if you're interested or even just curious to learn more, then you're going to want to sign up for one of these spots and reserve a free one-on-one marketing tune-up call with Clark at no cost. To do this, visit techmarketingtuneup.com. Once again, that's techmarketingtuneup, one word, .com. Call now, download now, go get it. Just throw in every call to action there. So, Clark, it's been real fun. I've really loved this interview, and I'm sure our listeners have as well. So thank you so much for being with us here today.
Same here, Brian. Thank you.
All right. You have a great day, Clark.